The people of Ashkavar have always lived in abexilus in the hinterlands, beyond the mapped land where the mountains climb into the sky, and the steppe crawls eternally into the horizon. The Kavars were once a proud and mighty people. For 200 years since Arkeeg led the tribes across the White Sea, much has transpired. 40 years ago, civil war caused irreparable damage to the Confederation. The two largest Koshai, Kosh Yakina and Kosh Ashkar, formed coalitions between themselves. Many of the smaller Koshai were forced to make a tough decision, and the fighting resulted in the deaths of thousands. Kosh Ashkavar fought on the side of the Ashkar coalition and took part in a disastrous battle which led to the destruction of Kosh Ashkar and the end of the civil war. While many of the rebel clans were returned, things would never quite be the same. Facing persecution, dishonorable work, and a lack of respect, something had to change. The Ashkavaria are on the move. A blood feud with the exalted matriarch of Kavaria, of Kosh Yakina, has resulted in the Ashkavari Kosh's exile from the Korqoriat. After a failed assassination attempt on his life, Kizilkosh Harun of Kosh Ashkavar would take his bloody hand and plant it squarely on his chest. This symbol of the red hand would be the new symbol of Kosh Ashkavar. This symbol has become the mark of a movement, a great divide of the Kavar people between the traditional Kavari Korqoriat and the new Ashkavari Korqoriat. Many of Kavaria's dissidents, intellectual, and the ambitious have long joined the long march to find a homeland, one where the people can settle for eternity, with no more need for migration. However, it will not be as easy as it may seem to find this homeland. Already, Ashkavari scouts report that the envoys of other nations are scouring the land. It seems that the Ashkavari are in a larger race for land. So says an introduction to Ashkavar, as stated in its lore channel. In this video, I will talk about the before stated nation, the Korqoriat of Ashkavar. Ashkavar is a constitutional monarchy located in the central and northwest of Iristoya. It was founded by the still living house of Kukulkan, and as of the writing of the script is led currently by Harun Kukulkan Kor. Note that the last part of the name is there because he is the Karakor of Ashkavar, hence Kor. Initially, it was founded by the soon after 50 TE, as they organized into what would be a new home into not the Ashkavari Korqoriat, but the Kavari Korqoriat. Its first ruler was that of Arkeeg. The Korqoriat, though not short-lasting, yet was not to last, as after a descendant of Arkeeg, Aratan Arkeega, died without an heir, the Kashi, or the Koshi, scrambled to claim the now empty throne. One of the Koshi to fight in the ensuing war was that of Ashkavar, fighting on the side of a coalition formed by a few other Koshi, took part in a battle that led to the destruction of Kosh Ashkar, as stated before, and the civil war's end. Many of the Koshi to rebel in the scramble were returned. However, the Ashkavaris under Harun Kukulkan migrated elsewhere due to exile. The Korqoriat would not be the same. It is said that Kavars all over Iristoya remain either under Ashkavar slightly indirectly, or not at all, perhaps yearning to join a Kavari nation. There are several ethnicities within Ashkavar. Most population-wise are of Kavar ethnic group, such as the Soru Kavari, Altri Kavari, and the Ashkavari. Sorry if I butchered any of those, by the way. In addition, there are some that had mixed with other ethnicities, such as the Herkavari, Orkavari, and the Kamtagari, mixed with the Brenrans, Ozrani, and the Green Steni, respectively. I'll go over a few of those major ethnicities and cultures, starting with the Ashkavari are an ethnicity of humans that are within the namesake nation, Ashkavar. They are the most common ethnicity within the Korqoriat and have mixed with the most ethnicities. Some will be listed later. They are usually Turkic-looking humans with a variety of appearances within that. The Ashkavari dwell all over the Korqoriat, though mainly in the capital city of Kabrabaria. There are a few ethnicities within the umbrella of Brenran, such as the Hermalu or Malu mushroom nymphs, Selate and Oni, or the Myconid. Appearances vary quite a lot. The Hermalu and the Ormalu, both humans, have mid-brown to dark brown skin with hair and eyes of many colours, sometimes two different colours at once. The Onis look quite devilish, with horns, a scorpion tail, scales, and draconic or feline legs. The mushroom nymphs are basically just women made of mushrooms. Lastly, the Myconids are basically small mushroom people like this. The Brenrans dwell in the towns of Volona and Zalashad. Lastly, the Kamtargri are mostly humans, dryads, elk-foals, Felis, and Felis Kavarin. The last a mix between human and Fella, if that's how you pronounce it. They are a mix between the Green Steny people and the Ashkavari people, and so the more human ones look a little like Ashkavari. The Felis Kavari are a mix between the Ashkavari and the Feli too, as stated before. The Felis are like a cat person. The Kamtagari dwell mostly in the town of Kamtagar. At the top of the government is the Karakor, the king, and is the head of the state and of the government. Just under him, a regent of sorts, the Karasia, the crown prince, who has the same power as the Karakor in the case that they are the highest available authority. That is, the Karakor is unavailable for an amount of time. As of now, the Karakor is Harun Kurukan Kor, the Karasia is Jakal Kurukan Da, though the title of Karasia is not primary for Jakal. The Kizildar are senior leaders of the Ashkavari Korqoriat, like the cabinet that serves the Prime Minister in Australia, albeit not including a head and being separate in institution from the Karakor. A Kizildar may also be a Mikdar, Kizilkosh, or in the military. The Mikdar are actual ministers, having the Karakor as the head of the ministry that holds them. They run specific parts of the Korqoriat and have ministries known as the Directory of Propaganda, Cultural Ministry, Royal Treasury, Artisan Ministry, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of the Interior, Ministry of Supply, and the Ministry of Blacksmithing. Some of these names do not seem to be consistent with the others. Within the institutions that hold land, other than perhaps the Karakor, there are two ranks, the Kizilkosh and the Korishkai. The Kizilkosh are the governors of the state, or like the governors, though not all territory falls within somewhere controlled by one. The states within the Korqoriat are called Koshai, singular being Kosh. The Kingdom of Brenra, the Maritime Federation, and Catalyst are Koshai, each controlled by a Kizilkosh. Lastly, there are the Korishkai, those that own individual towns and may be under a Kizilkosh. However, not all are directly under the Karakor. This can change. There is also a sort of parliament, the Siktan and the Hiktan. The Hiktan is like the upper house, consisting of the Karakor, Kizildar, Kizilkosh, and a few other governmental roles. They can introduce and vote on legislation before it is passed down to. The Siktan is the lower house, consisting of only the Sikvan, the citizens, and the Korishkai. The Siktan votes to confirm whether something passed by the Hiktan is passed into law. So some of the roles are a bit swapped, but yeah. The main and state religion of the Korqoriat of Ashkavar is a fellowship of the Great Wheel, also known as Wheelism or Temilism. In this religion, it is believed that the entire world is that of Temelon, described as a giant wheel or ophibeam, and that all within the world too are part of the wheel. It is also generally believed that the greatest virtue within the religion is diligence, to work fervently but reasonably. The second most practiced religion in Ashkavar is that of the monolatrous Silphaism, in which its worshippers worship a figure known as Silphay, symbolized commonly as a blue ankh. Silphaists value the collection of knowledge and are said to be a sect of Cubism though some say that it's part of a religion known as Salvinism due to its compatibility. There are plenty of other religions within the Korqoriat, such as Cardinalism, Garthism, of all things, and Salrinism. And so that's what there is to learn about Ashkavar now. Besides a temporary regency while the Karakor was unavailable, there has been no history of note that has happened on the scale of modern Abexilus. Perhaps in the future there could be a schism between realism, or a secession crisis after the death of all members of the Kurokan dynasty of Ashkavar. As unlikely as they may be, who knows what will happen. Anyways, see ya.